Notice how I grab his wrist right away, so that in that way I can start pulling my leg out, push his wrist back, and start clearing my leg over his shoulder so I can start working a triangle choke on him. And once I got my position, I got an underhook on his arm, and I clamped my hands together, so then that way it was harder for him to lift me up, and I also kept control of his posture as well. And as I'm holding my position, I'm working on adjusting my legs, trying to bring my left leg perpendicular to his head so then that way I can secure the triangle choke. I also grab my shin with both my hands so I can pull my leg into place and get my leg positioning better as well. At this moment, he's tucking his hand on the side of my body. He's tucking his hand back, which actually makes it harder to finish the triangle choke. And since he has his arm tucked, what I decided to do is I decided to switch my legs so I can get a backwards triangle. And what this does is it helps me keep his posture down, and it also helps me start attacking his arm that he has tucked for either submissions or to get his arm across his body. You can see me squeezing my legs together. Every once in a while I'm able to actually get a submission from here when the person has their arm tucked on the side, and I switch to the backwards triangle, and then I crunch in and I squeeze my knees together with my hands. Lots of times I can get a submission, but I was not able to get the submission this time. And then right here I'm working to attack his arm and work for possible kimuras or try to get his arm across. Now I really start working an angle to my right, so then that way I can start putting pressure on my opponent's neck, even with having the backwards triangle. And by doing this, he ended up posting his elbow out, putting his hand on my body, and I started grabbing his elbow and pulling it across my body, getting my hips up, pulling his arm across my body, and as soon as I did this, I switched my legs back to a regular triangle because I started getting his arm across his body, and now I was able to secure the regular triangle. And then I pulled his head down, I got my shin behind my ankle behind my knee, and I was able to finish the triangle choke. Fortunately, this was a good day for me. I had 3 matches. This was in the Grappler's Quest Advanced division. I won this match by submission, and I won my other 2 matches on points. For more details, you can watch the breakdown next.
Hey guys, Jason Scully from the Grappler's Guide here. You probably just watched a quick clip of me competing in a tournament and getting a triangle choke. Now when I got this triangle choke, I did it in a very basic manner. It's pretty much just fundamentals, and I'm just going to break it down a little bit, talk about what I did and what I was looking for, and some things that I did to try to finish it as well. Now what happened here was I ended up getting down in the guard position, and my opponent went to go stuff inside. So he was stuffing inside here like this. Let's actually go to the other side here. So when I was here, he went to go stuff inside, so in that way he can start working his passes. And if you notice, what I had here is I was already grabbing his wrist. It's very important to understand what your opponent's body is doing, what their arms are doing, and what your body is doing, so in that way you can work for attacks whenever you want. Now this was pretty much automatic when I did it, and that's your goal, is to make it automatic. So when I was here like this, his posture was up a little bit more, and I was actually up a little bit as well. And then from here, I started pulling his wrist inside as I pulled my leg out. And then I went for the triangle choke here. Now I didn't lock it in right away, but I started the triangle choke position. So I was here like this. He was up. See that? He was up. He went to go stuff inside on me, and I came here. He was posturing up. I curled his wrist in, or back. It was back a little bit, and then I cleared my leg out, so in that way I can get the triangle choke position. But the thing was, is even during this little scramble, I understood where my body was, and I was able to sit up, move the hand through, clear my leg out. It was basically a triangle choke from the half guard position, and I came through, and then I got the triangle choke position here. Now the next thing that I did to help me work on his posture and keep him close, come over on this side, is we'll start this from the beginning again. He comes inside, he's stuffing in, I'm coming here, I'm sitting up, I get the triangle. I took my arms and I came inside like this because he tried to lift me up. He started trying to lift me up and get his posture. Now Russ doesn't have to lift me up, but I was getting this position to make it harder for him to lift me up so I can work on breaking his posture here. Now what was happening is I was working here, I was trying to pick at the elbow, and he was fighting to keep his arm inside, and eventually my arm came out. So now I was pulling my leg in because I still wanted to secure the triangle choke. I had this triangle choke, but when the person's arm is over here, it's not the easiest thing in the world to finish a triangle. I can go for fist chokes, so on and so forth, but I didn't have this opportunity. I could work for Kimuras as well, so I can finish this here, but he was doing very good keeping his arm here. So one thing that I like to do, so I can make myself even a little bit more comfortable, is I switch my legs. So I took this leg and I brought it to the other side. Then I take my left leg and I pull it in. Now my triangle is switched here. Sometimes I can finish this, and if you watch in the video, if I squeeze my knees together, sometimes I can finish this, but he wasn't tapping to it and my position wasn't very good. So if we get this angle here, I end up having this position. I was here. I was fighting here, but I couldn't get this position, so I switched my legs. What this does is it makes my position more comfortable. Now I can hang out here for a little bit longer. He was stepping up a little bit with his leg. I was trying to come underneath and get my positioning better, so then that way I can now start working for a Kimura position on him. I was trying to work this arm because my goal was to make sure I can get his arm back to the other side. That's all I was looking for, lifting my hips up so I can get his arm over here. So now I can switch back to the triangle choke. So when I was working for this Kimura here, I had this position. I was working for this Kimura. We were fighting a little bit. His hand ended up going right here. If you look at his elbow, he ended up lifting his elbow up. So I took advantage of that and I pulled the elbow across. So in that way now his arm is across his face, and that's exactly how I want the triangle choke. As soon as the arm went across his face, I held his head and I switched to the other side. I switched back. Now I switched back to the other side, so in this way I can pull down the head and I can finish the triangle choke. So I used the positioning of my legs, so in that way I can still control my position, I can still control his posture, and I can fight and work on his arm, so in that way I can work to finish the triangle choke. So if we go through quickly one more time here, we're here like this, he stuffs inside, boom, I grab the wrist, here, I bring it in, I go to get the triangle choke, I come underneath, he's working to get his posture, I can't get it. So now I'm here working this position, I switch to the other side. I can't finish it, I'm working a hook under his leg, and then working to get this Kimura, and then I can't get the Kimura, so I slide his arm over to the other side, and then I switch back. So now that I can finish the triangle choke, because his arm is across his body, and then I hipped up, and I finished the triangle. So the general premise is you want to make sure you understand what you're doing in regards to your positioning in the other person's body. When I was here, he's on his knees, and I was here, the first thing I did is I controlled his wrist, because I knew he wanted to use this hand to work a pass. By me controlling this wrist, it gave me an opportunity to clear this leg out and go for the triangle. This is just a good position in general, triangle from half guard. Pulling in, and then work the triangle from there. I also switched my legs to the other side, so then that way I can work on still keeping my position, and then work to finish the triangle choke. Understand, when you do triangle chokes, it's very rare you ever just get the triangle and sink in your position. I would say most of the time you need to work towards your position, and you need to basically work so you can finish a triangle choke. Most people end up with their legs crossed like this, or it's a little off, and you have to make a whole bunch of little adjustments so you can finish the triangle choke. So it's very important that you practice these scenarios and these different situations. Basically this video is just to give you an idea of what I did, talk about some basic concepts, and let you know that just having these basic ideas definitely work in tournaments. That was in the advanced division at the Grappler's Quest. I ended up winning that division, fortunately, and hopefully that helps you out, and hopefully it'll give you a better idea in regards to your triangle chokes and making your attacks even better. All right, thanks guys. Peace.